This is Pokemon Emerald Yet's Speed Choice, a ROM hack that can bring most of genetic mechanics and quality of life features to the original game, like updated abilities, the physical and special split, multiple use TMs, and the fairy typing without changing it that much. Today, I'm going to try and see how easily Vivillon can beat Pokemon Emerald with those updated mechanics. Things start off awkwardly, as Mace Torchic gives some issues to Vivillon. It would usually be an easy fight for everyone, but due to the updated level up movesets in this game, her starter has access to a stab move, which in Torchic's case means that it gets Ember right off the bat. Vivillon has access to Sleep Powder immediately, alongside the attacking move Struggle Bug that reduces special attack, so I knew it was a matter of getting lucky enough to be able to get past her, and thankfully it only took one restart to get it to happen. While I make my way to Roxanne, let's explain some of the rules for this challenge. The first is that I'll try to keep the number of battles at a bare minimum, fighting trainers only when they are mandatory. This ROM hack has a function to make trainers fight you only if you talk to them, so if you see me running past a trainer that's not necessary to fight, it's most probably because of that. The second rule is that no items will be allowed during battle, excluding hell items. Finally, the obvious one is that I cannot use other Pokemon during battle except Vivillon. I'll get some Pokemon for HMs, but they'll never be used for other purposes. Anyways, before challenging Roxanne, there's one mandatory trainer on the right of Roxborough City that has 2 Geodudes, and I wanted to challenge him not only for the experience, but also to see how Vivillon would do against the gym. And it didn't take that many hits to defeat them, so it gives me a bit of confidence about how the Geodudes are going to go when I fight Roxanne. Nosepass though, I'm not sure. I went to challenge Roxanne, and her Geodudes ended up being 3 shots. It took me a while to get them to fall asleep for enough turns for Vivillon to defeat them, but it wasn't that hard. As for Nosepass, I only managed to land 2 Struggle Bugs before she defeated me with a single Rock Tomb. However, with Struggle Bug doing almost no damage to her, I don't think that even if she got a miss, I would have been able to win. Seeing how awful the fight went against Nosepass, it was apparent that I was going to need to get some levels, so out the windows goes the idea of minimum battles. I looked up, and the trainers that can give me the most experience are the ones with 2 Geodudes instead of the gym, so I fight both of them, getting Vivillon 2 levels. It takes me a couple more tries to get to Nosepass without her waking up turn 1, but when I get her to stay asleep for longer, 2 Struggle Bugs get her to half. That might seem good, as I would only need a miss to be able to win. The problem is that she has an Oran Berry, so it's going to take more than 4 hits to win. I get 2 more levels, and this time the attacks get her to a bit over a third of HP before her berry. I might be able to win with enough Sleep Lock in a miss, but that's going to take way too long. So I'm just going to bite the bullet and fight every trainer that's available before Roxanne. Okay, so I tried again, now at level 15, and something weird happened. To start, her Geodude is now a one-shot, but strangely, she sends Nosepass next, not the second Geodude. Anyways, Struggle Bug was now doing like a third of damage to Nosepass, so with the Oran Berry, it's a 4-hit KO. That might seem like I would need to get more levels, but Vivillon got strong enough that a Rock Tomb doesn't defeat him now. It still takes a lot of restarts, but after a while, Nosepass stays asleep for enough turns to get defeated by Vivillon. It was a rough start, but it could have been so much worse. Because for some reason, in this ROM hack, Roxanne doesn't use potions, even though in the original game, she has 2. I don't know why it is that way, but I am not going to complain. Moving on from that awful fight, the next important battle is Broly, and right before it, I got the move Psybeam, making the fight so much easier. I was already resistant to his Pokemon moves because of the Pokemon Flying type, but with the only attacking move before that being Struggle Bug, a move they resist, I wasn't so sure if I was going to win. Thankfully, I was able to somewhat easily sweep Broly's team with the new Psybeam. On the way to Watson, I had to fight the rival May, and I was a bit worried about this fight, mainly because she had 2 Pokemon with super effective moves against me. But turns out, I was worried for nothing, as both Wingull and Combusken were easy 2-shots with the help of the new Psybeam and Sleep Powder. I also got the move Supersonic during the fight, which is a bit risky with its low accuracy, but thanks to Vivillon's ability Compound Ice, that accuracy gets boosted to reasonable levels. Watson fight. Since his Voltorb has rollout, I started by putting him to sleep to then defeat him with 2 Struggle Bugs. He sends his Manectric next, and he only gets to set up a Howl before I put him to sleep and get him confused. Since he has Shockwave, I need to use Struggle Bug to lower his special attack. The move isn't doing that much, but it lowers the power of his electric moves, as when he wakes up, Shockwave does less than half. He also hits himself in confusion, so I put him to sleep once more without taking any more damage. I keep attacking and I managed to defeat him, but before landing the final attack, Manectric got one last hit that brought Vivillon to a fourth of his HP. Magneton was sent, and I went for the same sleep and confusion strategy. He woke up immediately and hit himself, so I put him to sleep once more and started using Struggle Bug. He woke up again and tried to paralyze me, but I had a berry for that, so I used Sleep Powder and Supersonic before going on the offense. I got him to the red, and just as I was about to win, Magneton woke up. However, he hit himself again, getting KO'd. Last was Electrike, and he was an easy 2-shot with the newly acquired Draining Keys that I got during the fight. Struggle Bug really came in handy for this fight, especially for Manectric. I probably shouldn't have won against Magneton if I'm honest, but I knew it was just a matter of getting lucky for Vivillon to get past Watson. The next part of the story is the fight against Team Magma. But before that, in Full Arbor Town, there's the move reminder. I could try to hard scale and teach Vivillon again any move that I deleted, which might seem like a small thing that I shouldn't even bother to mention. But I could also teach him moves that he might have missed at level 1, and there's actually a few. Before that, I took back Psybeam in place of Draining Keys, since I'm soon going to be facing against members of the Zubat line. But the one move that I can only get here is Powder. It's a very obscure move that's exclusive to Vivillon, and what it does is that if a Pokemon that got hit by Powder uses a fire move, it'll explode on itself and cause damage against it. With Matsy and Flannery coming up, I'm sure that this move is going to be crucial if I want to defeat them without having to get to level, I don't know, 50 or something. I don't know how the AI is going to react to it, but if I'm right, they should just spam fire moves as if nothing happened. As said before, the Matsy fight was after, and this was the perfect time to test Powder. His Mightyena was easy with Struggle Bug, so next was Camerupt. I used Powder, and when Matsy tried to go for Lava Bloom, it exploded on his face, causing about a fourth of his HP in damage. I kept going for Powder and he kept going for Lava Bloom, so eventually he was in range of getting defeated by a Psybeam, proving that my theory was correct, that the Emerald AI will just spam the move, ignoring the effect of Powder. After that, Zubat was an easy one-shot. I cannot wait to try this against Flannery. She started with Numel, and I put her to sleep and attacked with Psybeam. It was doing good damage, but barely not enough to get a 2-shot. She woke up in between hits, but only used Sunny Day, so I put her to sleep again, and after she healed with a potion, I was able to defeat her. She then sent Torkoal, and while I kept using Powder, she kept trying to get a one-shot against me with Overheat. I didn't know how much damage Psybeam was going to do against her, so I just kept using Powder until she knocked herself out. Camerupt was next, and I just used the same strategy of going for Powder as she kept trying to defeat me, eventually also making herself faint. Last was Logma, and to change things up a bit, I went for Sleep and Psybeam. She woke up on the first turn, but only went for Sunny Day, so I easily won. I know some of you are not going to be happy with how the fight went, but this move is exclusive to Vivillon, so I'm never going to get the chance to use it again. Besides, next is Norman, and I don't think that one is going to go as well, as I don't have a move to cheese him like with Flannery. And my prediction was correct, as Norman's Spinda is barely not a 2-shot with Struggle Bug, while his Facades do tons of damage to Vivillon. I can get past him, but then Slacking comes out and both outspeeds and one-shots me. I tried getting to him with more HP, but the result was basically the same, as while I do survive a hit, Slacking takes no damage. I even tried using a rare candy that was available by using the Mag Bag, but that changed nothing. Guess I'll just have to fight some trainers until I get something useful. While training, Vivillon eventually reaches level 35 and tries to learn Bug Buzz. It's a major increase in power, going from Struggle Bug's 50 base power to 90 base power, and it should give enough strength to face off against Slacking, not to mention the increase in speed from all the levels gained. The fight starts great, as Spinda is now a one-shot, meaning that I go into Slacking at full HP. Against him, Vivillon now outspeeds and can safely put him to sleep. Not only that, but Bug Boss was doing close to half of Slaking's HP, meaning that after he hits his berry, the third hit of the move defeats him. After that, both Linoon and Vigoroth were easy knockouts with the move. With the 5th patch acquired, I also get access to Surf, and I decide to just head straight to the next gym, defeating both Team Aqua on the Weather Institute and the rival on the way. I fight against the trainers on the gym, and Vivillon doesn't have that much of a problem against them. And while I could just go and challenge Winona right now, I think I'll wait until I get to a higher level before I do that, as I fear that Vivillon is going to get stuck at either Altaria or Skarmory. If you didn't know, there's nothing preventing you from making the 6th gym the last one you challenge, with the only consequence being that you cannot use Fly outside of battle. So I'm going to try and get a couple of levels from the evil team fights and come back when I feel like I'm ready. On the way to fighting those battles, I also get the TM for Giga Drain, which should prove useful against some of the final fights of the game. I haven't checked the TMs Vivillon can learn yet or his level up moves, so I'll have to see them soon, since I'm going to reach a pretty difficult part of the story soon. Matzy came after, and while I could have just used the same strategy of Powder against his Camerupt, I decided to just go with the same moves that I've been using so far, and it ended up working just fine. Granted, his Camerupt did take many hits to defeat, but that was mostly due to his potions, and with the help of Sleep Powder and Supersonic, it wasn't really that big of an issue. The same could be said about the rest of his Pokemon. Now, while I slowly make my way throughout the region to fight Team Aqua since I still cannot use Fly outside of battle, let's talk about the rest of Vivillon's level up movesets and TMs he could learn. In the level up ones, there's only 2 new moves left, but they're actually really good. The first one is Quiver Dance, and if you saw the Butterfree run I did, then you know how overpowered this move is. It grants a boost to Special Attack, Special Defense, and Speed with no drawbacks. Just having a move that boosts an attacking stat is great, but one that boosts 3 different useful stats is amazing. The second one is Hurricane. It's a 110 base power flying special move that has the added effect of having a 30% chance of confusing the target. The only thing about the move is that the accuracy isn't great, only having 70, but that's where Compound Ice comes in, as it brings it from 70 to 91 accuracy, making it actually useful and reliable. In combination with Quiver Dance, these 2 moves are going to destroy most teams Vivillon goes against for sure. As for TMs, there's a couple of interesting coverage options. There's Giga Drain, Psychic, and the combo of Sunny Day Solar Beam. I already have Giga Drain, and I can get Psychic from either Victory Road or the Game Corner, and they should help me cover for some of the types that Bug and Flying don't hit for that much damage. The last 2 moves though, I don't think are going to get used much, as rather than spending a turn setting up a Sunny Day and then hit with Solar Beam, I'd rather set up a Quiver Dance and then hit with Giga Drain. One funny thing that I noticed though is that Vivillon can actually learn Coal Mine. I don't know why you would teach it to him if you have Quiver Dance at that point, which also gives a boost to speed, but I thought it was funny. Also, I know I could have taught him Return a while back, but as an added rule, I decided not to teach him any moves that almost every Pokemon can learn, like Dot Seek, Double Team, or Rest. They just make every solo run look the same, so I think it's better if I just don't use them. While fighting the trainers inside of the Psychic Gym, Vivillon ended up getting Quiver Dance, and with the move, I decided that it was a good time to challenge Winona. It ended up being not that difficult of a fight, as after putting her team to sleep and setting up 3 Quiver Dances, only her Skarmory and Altaria were able to survive being one-shot. But since their aerial Ace were not doing much, it was pretty easy to defeat them. Going into the Teddy and Lysa fight, I had to bring one of the Pokemon I was using for HMs to the battle since I was forced to. Since I already had Quiver Dance, the plan was simple. Put Satu to sleep turn 1 as letting Lysa target my HM on, and then go for a Quiver Dance as Claydol attacks. For some reason, it went for Psychic instead of Ancient Power. I'm not complaining, as it allowed Vivillon to defeat him without taking too much damage. Satu woke up though and hit with Psychic. I couldn't risk putting him to sleep again when Lunatone came out, so I decided to just keep attacking, this time going for the Lunatone and getting a one-shot, as Satu went for a Coal Mine. Solrock was out, and I just kept going for Bug Boss, also getting a one-shot, while Satu went for the second Coal Mine. Since he was the only one left, I used Sleep Powder on him and then Bug Buzz, doing a bit less than half. Since he stayed asleep, I went for a second Quiver Dance to ensure the KO, and with him still being asleep, a final hit defeated him. That might have seemed easy, but with Gladle going mostly for Ancient Power and Satu not always staying asleep, it was a fight that took a couple of restarts, and I could have easily taken more. Next was a double battle on the space station against Matsi and Tabitha with Steven, and it's usually not a problem when compared to taking Lights Up, but with Vivillon missing a Sleep Powder on turn 1 against Mariana and then getting hit by Scary Face, it actually got a little close. I won't narrate the whole thing since a lot of stuff happened and I feel like the video is already long enough, but I'll just say that them not going for any fire type move certainly helped both Steven and I to win, alongside me focusing on putting opponents to sleep and then going for Quiver Dance, while Steven attacked with pretty decently strong moves. Another important thing that happened though was that Vivillon got to level 50 and tried to learn Hurricane. I've already explained what it does, but it's for sure going onto Vivillon's moveset. Last of the evil team fights is against Archie, and it was the perfect chance to test the new Hurricane, and after a single boost, it destroyed his team. I used Psybeam against Crobat for the super effective damage, and that one didn't get a one-shot, but besides that, nothing relevant happened. The final gym leader is Juan, and after putting Loftis to sleep and setting up Quiver Dance twice, his entire team was a one-shot with Hurricane. I only had to restart once, but it was only because I got confused on Loftis, and that made Vivillon hit himself in confusion against Kingdra, who had Ice Beam to do tons of damage. That didn't happen on this attempt, so with Hurricane not missing, it was an easy sweep. Speaking of easy sweeps, the last fight before the league is Wally, and after putting his Altaria to sleep, he swapped to Magneton. I got him to sleep as well, and after setting up a second Quiver Dance, I started attacking with Psybeam. It didn't get the one shot, and he woke up, hitting with a Thunderbolt that did a concerning amount of damage. Thankfully, Psybeam got the 2-shot, so it was just a matter of landing the Hurricanes after that to get the 1-shot on the rest of the team. Going into the Elite Four, I'm honestly feeling pretty confident. The Thunderbolt from Magneton could be a little worrying considering that I was at +2, but since I'm going to be outspeeding everything anyway and I have Hurricane, I don't really think there's anything to worry about. The only problem could be missing a move, but at most that's going to happen 3, maybe 4 times. There's not much to say besides that, so I'm just going to ditch back Bug Buzz to Vivillon in place of Psybeam and fight the League. First of the Elite Four is Sydney, and by using Bug Buzz, Mariana was a one-shot, Absol was a one-shot, Cacturne was a one-shot, Groudon was a one-shot, and Shiftry was a one-shot. Pretty easy, didn't even need to use Sleep Powder or Quiver Dance. Second of the Elite Four is Phoebe, and after taking advantage of her first Dusclops habit of using Protect at the start and Sleep Powder, I was able to set up 2 Quiver Dances, which allowed Butterfree to one-shot her first Dusclops with Hurricane, and then her second Dusclops, her Sableye, her first Banette, and her second Banette. Third of the Elite Four is Glacia, and by putting her first Celio to sleep, I was able to get to +2 and take her down with Hurricane, but not before being hit by a weak Ice Ball. Then her first Glalie was a one-shot, and her second Celio was a one-shot. For Walrein, Hurricane got her to the red. That could have been dangerous, but my attack got her confused and made her hit herself. So after a couple of heals, she went down. Last was the second Glalie, but it was also not a problem. Last of the Elite Four is Drake, and I was getting a bit cocky, as I didn't even bother putting Shelgon to sleep and just went for Quiver Dance. This backfired on me, as he went for a Rock Tomb that almost defeated Vivillon. I had a Citrus Berry to heal, but I decided to stop playing around and put Shelgon to sleep before getting the second Quiver Dance and defeating him with Bug Buzz. Then Salmans was a one-shot with Hurricane, and Altaria was a one-shot with Hurricane. For Flygon, I went for the same move, but it missed, and he hit Vivillon with Flamethrower. Thankfully, the boost to special defense from Quiver Dance and the berry allowed Vivillon to survive, landing the Hurricane the next turn. Lastly, Kingdra was a one-shot with Hurricane. Bit of a close fight, but mostly due to me getting overconfident. Finally, it's the champion, Wallace. And since his Wailord only physical attacking move was a weak double edge, I took my time to put him to sleep and go all the way to +3, knocking him out with Giga Drain that I got by replacing Bug Buzz. Milotic then somehow survived the hit from Giga Drain, but only to hit with a weak Ice Beam, so he was easily knocked out the next turn. then Tentacruel was a one-shot, Ludicolo was a one-shot, and Wishcast was a one-shot. Lastly, against Gyarados, Hurricane was a one-shot. Well, that was extremely easy. I didn't have to restart a single time during that entire Elite Four run, not even when I misplayed against Drake. Guess that's how powerful it is to have a setup move that boosts 3 stats, including an attacking one and speed, a near perfect accuracy sleeping move, and a stab move that has the same base power as moves like Thunder, Fire Blast, or Hydro Pump. Now, as you probably know, the run is not over yet. There's still the secret post-game battle against Steven, and he has a bunch of rock and steel types, so it's not going to be easy as just spam Hurricane or Bug Boss. They also have way higher levels, so I might need to go out and collect all of the rare candies for this last fight. Still, from how well this last part of the challenge has been going and from doing the Butterfree run, I feel confident that Vivillon is going to make it through, so I replace Giga Drain back for Bug Boss and challenge Steven for the last fight of the game. 2 Quiver Dances weren't enough for Skarmory, so I tried a couple of times until I got the luck necessary to get Vivillon to +3 by using Silly Powder. Eventually, I do get the boost, but when I land Hurricane, it didn't even bring him to half. Even worse, his attacks were doing massive damage. I might be able to get past this fight without rare candies, as long as I get the confusion from Hurricane and enough luck with sleep turns. But since I won't have a use for the rare candies after this fight, I feel like it's better if I just use them and save myself the time I would spend restarting 1 billion times. There are 17 rare candies throughout the Hoenn region, and only 2 are locked behind a trainer battle, so I gave myself 14 through the debug menu since I used 1 to get past Norman. And I just gave every one of them to Vivillon to get his level as high as possible, so that Hurricane can hopefully 2-shot Skarmory without the need of going to +4. First try after the rare candies, and the strat was the same as usual, sleep and then Quiver Dance. During this attempt, Skarmory used Aerial Ace, bringing Vivillon to the red, so I decided to just get 2 boosts and test the damage of Hurricane, with the move actually doing way more than I expected, easily getting the 2 shots. Steven sends his Ace Metagross, and after putting him to sleep, I got a crit Bug Boss to bring him to the red, with him healing the next turn. Because of that, it took a bit longer to defeat him, but that actually worked in my favor, as it meant that I got more recovery from the Shell Bell that I equipped to Vivillon. For some reason though, Steven switched out Metagross, going into Aggron, and he took a lot of damage from Bug Boss. I wasn't sure if he was at half HP from the attack or not, so I decided to not risk it and put him to sleep before attacking again. And he was an easy one-shot. So next was Armaldo, who was also an easy one-shot with Hurricane. Credilli came out, and Hurricane didn't defeat him. He countered with Ancient Power, and he brought Vivillon to only 33 HP, thankfully surviving thanks to the boost and the Shell Bell. Steven healed, and this time I went for Bug Boss for the one-shot. Last was Claydol, but he was another easy one-shot with Bug Boss, meaning that I managed to get past Steven and beat the game with a single Vivillon, with a total of 85 restarts, using all of the rare candies, and a total of 123 battles, with the optional ones being for Roxanne and Norman. That was an interesting run. Having to struggle so much against Norman while having 2 of the easiest fights be against Matsy and Flannery was certainly not what I was expecting when I started this challenge. Still, I'm really happy with how it turned out, as I got to test a Gen 6 Pokemon for the first time in Pokemon Emerald, not counting Mega Evolutions, alongside using Hurricane and destroy Flannery with Powder. One last thing before the outro, but originally, I was planning to do every Pokemon in Pokédex order, throwing Mega Evolutions, regular evolutions from other regions, and regional forms in between. But after thinking about it, I decided that if a Pokemon doesn't get any of those from a region that was made after Gen 3, I would just add a Pokemon from those regions in between that is similar to the Pokemon I was doing the challenge with, like Butterfree or Arbok, just to add a bit of variety to the series. But anyways, did I miss anything on the video? If you think so, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.